Secret friends, unite!
Welcome to the Secret Friends Unite podcast, episode 375. This is your guide to the geek side, and I am one of your hosts, Todd Oxtra, joined by Charlie Carden.
Purple Rain. What's going on, y'all?
And also joined by Miss Katie Quinn Persson. How are you doing, Katie?
I'm doing well, and yourself?
You know what? It finally stopped raining. It's beautiful. I've been doing yard work. Love is in the air.
Oh, Todd, your favorite. I mean, I know you're excited about moving, which you can tell everybody that you did finally find a house.
Oh, yeah. I acquired the Xavier School for Higher Learning. So there you go.
It came with a t-shirt.
I've inherited some students I'll have to take care of. I gotta use my mutant ability, and we'll see how that goes. But yeah, got a house, and now we're getting ready to sell our house. We'll see how this thing goes. But yes, I'm a little bit bruised. I stained. If you can see, it looks like I've been killing people this weekend. So yeah, lots of stains on my body still.
Looks like.
Exactly. Could be blood. Could be stained. But we'll talk about that later. Before we get into this, we're going to go into cover for episode comic book 375, Fantastic Four.
I picked it.
I believe this cover originally did have like some lenticular nature to it. So we were still in that era of fancy covers.
Now, Todd, I was saying in the pre-roll, like, we're going to celebrate it's 375. You're like, why? Why bother? Says right on here, and this is again from April of 1993. It says right on there, 375th anniversary spectacular. See, so there you go.
Was there a 374th anniversary spectacular?
Nope, that's not special enough, but I think there was a 372. This was, I love this. Usually, for the run of Fantastic Four, typically said, world's greatest comic magazine. This says, this is not your parents' comic magazine, which is probably why Sue Storm is kind of dressed for FF porn, I guess, because this was, I don't know, it was the debut of the boob window, but she does have the huge belt, the leather jacket, and the giant gun. I mean, 90s it on up. I mean, the thing, it also has a giant gun and a helmet. Yeah, he's got a bane. And then Reed is also sporting a vest. So vest, his is more of a vest because it's like a waistcoat.
It's a tactical vest, Charlie. And then Johnny Storm apparently has a fireproof jacket.
He does. Yeah. Well, then you have his Skrull wife, who was Alicia Masters, but they were married. So then she came back after Secret Invasion or whatever. And then I think the woman in the metal outfit is, again,
let Katie guess. Who is the woman in the outfit?
And
lower
left.
I have no idea.
Come up with a name.
I know she's got red hair, so Jean Grey.
There you go. You guessed it.
She's called Clanky Mick Codpiece. I don't know. I think that was Sharon Ventura.
Mine was closer. I at least had some logic to mine.
Right. Mine was just a bunch of words I said. So that's okay. Because that is my leitmotif, a bunch of words I said. No, that was Todd, you remember I talked about Sharon Ventura, who she became a thing, and Ben became a rockier thing. Then he turned back to normal, and I guess she turned back to normal as well. So I'm pretty sure that's her. So anyway, it was the night.
I'm glad they wrapped that storyline.
Yeah, and it's the rise of Doom, and it's lenticular. And I really hope this one comes up in our quarterly random comics we have to read, because I'm really curious. But I suppose I could just read it myself.
You can just read it. We're not stopping you from reading it.
I know. I'm spending several hours traveling tomorrow, getting to Arizona for our national sales conference, so I will have time. So I'll give you the full boob window report. Just look for it on Twitter at ZC3.
You can just sans the boob window part
of the report,
and I'll be fine.
I think so. I've seen that 85 times, Charlie. I don't think anybody wants it anymore.
Todd, boob window. Okay, that's the last one, I promise.
Thank you, Katie. Apology.
I'm waiting for a COD window. Let's be real.
Okay. I'm in. Do it.
Is that really all access? Apparently.
I mean, Katie's idea at least is groundbreaking. Mine is the boob window is nothing at all.
You need COD to find window. The Hawkeye Initiative. Please tell me you guys have heard of that.
No.
No. I'm going to educate y'all. Oh, it's
break
great.
it down. Break it down.
So there was an artist that decided, I think it started with the New 52 reboot and just the stupid poses that they were putting Starfire in and just the scantily clad outfits. So someone decided to redraw Hawkeye in all of those outfits and poses. So like there's one that they did of Catwoman, the Spider-Woman comic cover that was very controversial. They did him in that.
Oh, okay.
And so there's a lot. Yeah. If you Google search audience, if you want some fun, you can Google search Hawkeye Initiative and you'll find some primo stuff.
I am into it.
Yeah. Lots of man cheesecake. Yeah, lots of man cheesecake.
Oh my God.
There's also folks who have gender bent the like Justice League. So I'm making that joke about a COD window, but there was a guy who dressed up like Power Boy, and there was a window like right above his nethers.
Oh, so you got the.
At least it was above. I'm thinking it's just right in line because that's like. Ooh.
So it was the Merkin window. I don't want to hear about it. All right.
Yeah,
we are so moving on. Let's move on, please.
Yes. We move on by going to our gal pal, our senior news correspondent. So without further delay, Madame Webb, take it away.
Now it's time for Madame Webb's rumors and news. Take it away, boys.
Thank you, Madame Webb. We're back into it. May is here, and let me just tell you, Madame Webb, when the weather comes out, you get a little antsy, your Tinder profile gets reloaded. What can I say, Madame Webb? Just take it easy this year. You do not need to get your back broken by August. Just keep it cool.
Ouch. That's as cold as ice. Rough stuff.
Know what else is cold? When you've got dragons mixed with ice, and that is in the House of Dragon. It got a trailer, and this is officially the first spin-off of Game of Thrones. This will debut on HBO Max in August 21st, and this is all about the Targaryens. These are the ruling class before you had Game of Thrones proper, and you all know what went down. Somebody betrayed the king. Well, many people betrayed the king, and we got that ongoing plot. So this is really kind of like going to be the fall of the House of Targaryen. And obviously we'll see all things that follow through with this. We've got some interesting cast members. Rhys Ifans, who was the Lizard in Spider-Man 2, Amazing Spider-Man 2. And this apparently will take place centuries before, though. It says centuries before. So this is really... we've got some things that happened well before it. So centuries before means, though, that you don't know necessarily everyone's fate, but you kind of do because they're all dead. I don't think there's any long-living people in this. Yes. So this could be interesting and could open some doors. And the Targaryens, if you've seen them, they're all pretty much albinos without the red eyes. So there you go. Matt Smith is in it. And we'll see how this goes. And apparently there will be a book accompanying this called The Lore in Fire and Blood and Beyond, October 25th, 2022. Not
written by George R. R. Martin, because he doesn't do that.
Martin is providing the information. He's not writing it, and he's not doing the illustrations. But yeah.
Let me ask you this question, Todd. You are a notorious prequel detractor. How does this make you feel? Do you feel that there's a window to create some stories? I don't really have a dog in the fight because that's not my scene. But yeah, when it comes down to this, would you prefer this, or much like kind of when you say with Star Wars, where you're like, yeah, I would like to see like Knights of the Old Republic, but I'd also love them to jump like 1,000 years in the future and see if there's more story. I mean, I'm curious of your take, because like I said, I don't know anybody who hates prequels the way that you do. So how do you feel? Rap to me.
I hate the previous generation. I just hate it when you only like skip ahead a little bit. It's like with the Hunger Games. They're doing that prequel with President Snow, and I'm like, that's as far back as you're going, because that's
right. You just want to see him as a young dude. It's like, oh, this is how he became such a bad guy. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. No, I like this though.
Him, and you're like, why?
Why?
Yeah,
exactly. We know he becomes an asshole. It's like Anakin. We know Anakin becomes an asshole. And it's like, okay, great, awesome. Right. I don't know. I like the world of Game of Thrones, and largely we'll see how this plays out. I hope it explores different areas of Game of Thrones and not just saying, oh, there might be some white walkers. I mean, I don't want them to do that. I don't want to like, oh, I ran into so-and-so. I don't like that stuff.
Taking all the familiar elements. I mean, and Katie and I being the Star Trek experts that we are, Discovery walked a fine line with that. Strange New Worlds may also Discovery, really took the bent that I always wanted them to take, is that they took themselves out of prequel status and now they're no longer a prequel. Where Strange New Worlds, again, we're not really going to talk about that so much because not everyone here has seen it. But they found a way to do something prequel-ish that is more of a reinvention because its source material is from 50 years ago. So it bears updating, where, Game of Thrones was on, that ended like 2 years ago. So there's not a ton of kind of updating and you put it in the past. So I just don't know. I mean, I'll watch it, obviously, because April loves that stuff much more than I do. But yeah, I was curious kind of your take as the prequel, the OG prequel hater. I wanted to see your take.
Well, what I like about Game of Thrones the majority of the time is the relationships, the pieces as they move. It's not necessarily the end game. I mean, it wasn't like the War with the White Walkers was the greatest thing in the world. It had some cool elements to it and everything like that. Sure. I do like how they build those relationships and build those stories. And this will be different because George R. R. Martin didn't really write any books based on this. So you're not going to necessarily get like lines lifted from this. You'll get ideas from him, where Game of Thrones suffered is when they went away. They didn't have any source material to draw from. They had basically an outline. And then people got frustrated because people were lifting their own material, doing their own thing. It's like, it's kind of hard. It's like, it's just a hard thing to accomplish after you take a written book and say, oh, by the way, make it up with my outline. I mean, I don't know if there's ever been a great outline. And I'm like, this is my great outline. I'm sure it's fantastic. It'll be an award winner. No, but I think
it's a great outline. You know that you love it.
Yeah.
Good
so
stuff.
Katie, Game of Thrones, you were here pre Game of Thrones, so I don't even know if you like the series or not.
I mean, I read the books and then I watched most of the series. I'm going to be honest, I never actually even watched the series finale just because I found out how it ended and I have zero interest in it.
You were like, I'm good. Got it.
Yeah. I kind of have my own theories as far as I honestly think that's how Martin was planning on ending it. And that's why that's why the final season had such a weird twist to it, because the writers weren't going in that direction. They were like, oh snap, that's how he was planning on ending it. And then when it got so poorly received, he's like, oops, my bad. Actually, I'm not going to end it that
I
way.
would never write such a thing. Well, you never will write such a thing.
So,
yeah, right.
I mean, I think Martin does really well at world building. I honestly don't think he's a fantastic writer. People don't hate me. You can have your own opinions. I'm so sorry.
Hit her up on Twitter. What's that handle again, Katie? So people can tweet you.
Oh no, I don't know what you're talking about. But I'm not a huge fan of Matt Smith either, so there's not a lot going for me.
I sure wasn't a fan of his after, what the hell was that? Morbius. Oh my god.
Yeah.
I liked him better as Morbius than I did in the Terminator movie. So.
Yeah, well, I say it's
the same character, just like different variations of it. So, I don't have a huge kind of, I don't have the skin in the game on that one. Like, if a lot of people watch it and they think it's really, really awesome, I might watch it. But I also, I kind of recognize the names, but there's a lot to try to keep track of. And I feel kind of like I'm watching Lost at that point because there's just people and plots and everything going on all the time. So I don't know. Again, no skin in the game.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, kind of here. So Todd, this is your baby. So when are we getting this? The fall? When is this coming out?
August 21st. I'm excited for it because we are finally getting good fantasy, and at least even if Game of Thrones didn't end the way you liked it, I thought the way that was pulled off and the way it brought credibility to fantasy, very few people have ever done before. It's very easy to make space travel credible because it's in the future and it's science, right? Or it's like, oh, we can do fantasy and outside in our space. Like, oh, I totally believe that. Versus there's a dragon versus there's a space alien. So I always think it's funny, that dichotomy, because it feels like it takes the past. It feels like it's ancient history that could have happened on Earth versus nope, it's just another world where fantastical things happen. So we'll see how this goes.
New world. Oh, sorry. I was going to hit my music break. So, speaking of breaks, I'm going to break you into this next story. So I am fired up about this shit. I have always, Todd, we've talked on this show many, many times about our love for the 1989 through 1993 Quantum Leap series that was on NBC. Scott Bakula, the late Dean Stockwell, evergreen series, great concept. Never, it wasn't really. It was science fiction based, but it didn't really have special effects, so that never detracted for it. And it was just an evergreen, wonderful concept because it was set. The scientist who, in 1999, which was the future at that point, created this quantum accelerator, which could transport his consciousness into the past within his own lifetime. So he was born in 1953. It was 1999. So the show took place in between that time frame, and he would, jump into a war widow here, or he would jump into an abused woman over here. He jumped into a monkey who was a space pilot. I mean, he did a lot of different shit in the 5 seasons the show was on. So much like with everything in the world, and like, with Night Court, because it was also mentioned this article is being rebooted. This is coming up new, but they are doing it with a new cast. So they're taking a new actor, Raymond Lee, as Dr. Ben Song, who is a man of faith and a world-renowned physicist working on the time travel project, kind of reviving Sam Beckett's principles and wanting to understand what happened. It also mentions Ernie Hudson is coming in as a heritage character anyway. A Vietnam vet that Sam jumped into in season 3 is The Leap Home, which was one of the absolute. It was a cliffhanger. And it was a season launcher, but it was just absolutely fantastic. I remember that very. And they mentioned some other members of the cast, but again, does say Scott Bakula is headlining the NBC rodeo pilot Unbroken and has no involvement in the series. I kind of feel like if that show doesn't go anywhere, we could end up seeing some Scott Bakula in this show. That's my vibe. But this looks absolutely fantastic. But yeah, they go on to talk to. It sounds like this. Some of the other castings talk about other people at the project. So it sounds like instead of it just being about the leaper, if that's what it turns into be, the guy's leaping into different lives, that it has to do with the organization making it all happen. So it might be kind of a different bent, but still, I'm super fired up. So this is in production, I assume I'm looking for a date. I would feel like fall. Todd, are you seeing it and I'm not seeing it?
23 TV season.
Yeah, so fall. So in the fall. So yeah. So it will be a network TV show that I actually watch. And NBC shows, those are on the Peacock. So that's what I'll be watching.
I believe they go there, yes. Yes, they believe they go there. Yeah.
I am.
So, Kitty,
I'm totally down.
Yeah, is this a show you ever watched or saw?
Oh, yeah. I would watch this a lot of times. Every Wednesday night, we would go over to my grandparents' house, and this was on a lot because it was one of those that was kind of kid-friendly, that my grandparents and parents could also watch and not want to lose their minds. So yeah, I remember, the guy, he had his little rainbow light pad, and he would walk through this light door, because there was one guy that could project and help Scott Bakula. I don't remember his names, but
Dean Stockwell, who is retired Admiral Al Calavici. He also was the Cylon John, brother of Cavill in BSG. So the number 1 Cylon, the leader, the bad guy. And also he and Scott Bakula reunited in a season 1 episode of Enterprise, which you would know about because you don't like that show.
I don't. As much as I love Scott Bakula, I don't like that show.
That's totally is very
you
much.
You can't. I'm sorry, Charlie. You will never make Enterprise happen. Stop trying to make it happen.
Ooh.
Is that fetch? Is that fetch? All right, I accept it. I accept it.
But
it's okay.
Yes, I am genuinely excited about this one. It's kind of like you guys are talking. It's a part of nostalgia for me. I'm not always super stoked about them just rebooting things. I do appreciate when they make new stuff, or at least try to, it's one thing when they're doing Discovery, or you have a kind of brand of redoing, along a theme of something. But I don't know. Yeah, as my mantra, like Todd likes to say, good clean or good dumb fun. I like to say, hesitantly optimistic.
Oh, gotcha. He was cautiously optimistic, like when Homer falls into the 3D universe. He was cautiously optimistic. Crap.
It's a shame that this isn't a sequel, right? Where they could have it play with the continuity, have fun, and like you said, the whole Ernie Hudson character, that it's a heritage character, like you said, Charlie, but it's like if it never happened, because a reboot essentially is saying we don't honor the things from the past because it's like it never existed, but it's using the framework. So it's kind of sad that it's not a sequel.
I mean, like I said, Scott Bakula is involved in some other show that I feel like has canceled written all over it, because what was the last radio show you were really into? Oh, that's right. I love Yellowstone. But let's not get talking
I was going to
about
say, Charlie, it's all the rage. Old people like Westerns.
Yeah,
exactly. Wait, you do too.
Oh my gosh! Yeah, well,
snap! Shots
Charlie
fired.
is the CBS demographic. He loved Jag back in the day when it was on. So there you go. He was ready to be 80 when he was 20. Yeah.
My spidey sense tells me Scott Bakula. If this show survives, Scott Bakula will show up eventually.
CBS never cancels anything. It always finds an audience.
That's why, and that's why NCIS still has programs after almost 25 years, 20 years anyway. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. I hope it's going to be good, and I think it's kind of cool. With it's definitely a different take on the show, and like you said, if it's back and forth, it reminds me of a game that Katie might have played, which is Assassin's Creed, which is all about going in I forget what the device is called, but essentially you inhabit your ancestors in a different society and things like that. But you had, I think it was called the Abstergo. Is what it's called. Maybe.
I don't. But there's a lot of lore involved with Assassin's Creed, and I was just like, guys, I just want to run around ancient Greece. It's fine. Calm down.
But you had handlers essentially that would keep you alive and things like that. So kind of a cool concept. Yeah,
you're fine. I'm fine. Oh man. So moving on, if we're ready. Obi Wan trailer. So we had a teaser. Was it a teaser that we had about 6 weeks ago?
Teaser, and this is the story trailer, approximately.
Yeah, this is full of it's full of some great stuff. Yes, now we did get some like the Luke, which Todd was very unimpressed with, the Luke, playing pod racer on the back end.
Yippee! But we got podcasting.
We're podcasting. He's pod racing. So yeah, there you go. There's your name for
podcasting.
There's your name. There's your name for podcasting. There's your name for the episode. Whee! Podcasting. This is filled with absolutely a lot of great stuff. You're getting a lot more of the Inquisitors. You're getting a lot of deep, dark locations. You're getting to see Obi Wan do some hand-to-hand combat, which you don't see a ton of when somebody's a lightsaber wielder. But my absolute favorite part of it, I mean, obviously your fan service moment was the heavy implication of Vader and Obi-Wan meeting up, because you're seeing Vader getting, an arm gets screwed on and his chest piece gets clipped. The one thing that beat all is when you can see that Owen Lars, who is Joel Edgerton, and Obi-Wan, who is, of course, why am I forgetting the name of the guy who plays Obi-Wan? Ewan McGregor. They're having a chat, and Obi-Wan's like, clearly at some point the boy will need to be trained, and fucking deadpan as shit. Edgerton goes, oh, like you trained his father? And I was like, no! Stone cold. That made the trailer for me.
Oh, come on. He said, hey, take care of this kid for 18 years. I mean, how would you love it if somebody said, here's a baby, enjoy?
Well, you remember that.
Take him back when he's grown.
you remember that scene from episode 3 where he shows up, gets off, and he's like, here's a baby lady we've never met. I'm going to take off now. And Owen is just standing there looking at the sunset. She walks up with the baby. Maybe they knew he was coming.
You did what?
What? No, at the end of
no, I'm just saying that's what he said.
He turns around. He's like, where'd you get this? We're in the middle of the desert. Where'd you get a baby?
Guess our plans to see Weird Al are canceled.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. We were supposed to be going to Tashi Station tonight to see Weird Al and the Figural Dan band. So, I mean, I don't think that for us hardcores we could get much more excited, but it was great to see this. We're 2.5 weeks away from this. Comes out May 27. So yeah, this is gonna be pretty sweet. I'm fired up.
Katie?
Yeah, I'm excited. I mean, I love what they've been doing with Obi-Wan so far, as if you're looking at canonically with the animated series stuff and like how sassy they've made him, and I think that McGregor's gonna be able to pull that off real well. I am just curious because it seems like there's a lot of fighting and stuff going on Tatooine, and I'm like, I thought the whole point was that you're supposed to be hiding out on Tatooine and people weren't supposed to know you're there. So I'm just curious how this is going to all work out as far as that goes. But otherwise, like the villain Sith person who's fighting him, I didn't catch what her name was. She seems super cool. I love this kind of like cat and mouse vibe that they've got going on as far as like her just stalking. They showed the guy, the Inquisitor dude.
The same guy from
Rebels.
Rebels. Oh, it's the same guy. I just you just
well,
can't.
or at least it's
can't
his
quite tell.
species. I don't know if it
Right.
was the same guy.
Could be him, yeah. And the species is they were the when they go to I think it's when they go to Utapau, which is the kind of one of the final set pieces in Episode 3, where Obi Wan has his final fight with General Grievous. They're the people with the the kind of the Thanos face with the big lines all over their face.
Yeah,
I think it's that race.
Yeah. It is one of those things, kind of like what they did with. Now I'm forgetting everybody's names. The other guy from Clone Wars that showed up in Mandalorian. The bounty hunter.
Cad Bane.
Yes, I kind of felt a little bit Cad Bane, where I was like, they just didn't seem to nail the essence of like that visual from the animate, which I understand is difficult to do.
Sure,
but I was just like, you could have done a little bit of prosthetics or something to make him seem a little bit more like kind of imposing and have that presence. Instead of it just, I guess, him having like a large forehead and stuff was an aesthetic choice they're choosing in Rebels versus it being a characteristic of his race. So I don't know, like but those are all like small nitpicky things. So overall, I'm very excited about it, and I will definitely be watching it.
Apparently, they couldn't get the cone head. Prosthetic from SNL. Yeah. I mean, well, and the thing is, there's no one else to blame. I mean, Filoni's the next. So if anybody let this go, Filoni let it go. So blame Filoni, saying, "Dude, this is your creation."
Yeah.
So I'll also say it's his creation. So it's like anybody nitpicky, take it up with Filoni and his cowboy hat. So apparently, if you take off Filoni's cowboy hat, his head looks exactly like that. You never knew that, did you? Yeah. So there you go. Yeah, I'm excited for it. I mean, because once again, I think Obi-Wan's a cool character. He's been on screen a lot if you count the Clone Wars and such. So, I mean, it's not like he's not had enough screen time. He just hasn't had any live action screen time where he actually had good material. So I'm hoping he has good material. And you see a lack of lightsabers in the show too. So to the point, he's shooting people rather than, because you know what? If you use a laser pistol, nobody knows who you are. But if you use a lightsaber, then you're a Jedi.
Yeah,
but they didn't show a
serious dead giveaway. Yeah.
Kumail Nanjiani is
and he was sporting some Jedi robes.
He looks like a Jedi, but maybe not. But I mean, once again, the Jedi robes, that was a Tatooine special. Apparently, they got a good deal on robes, and so they said, "Hey, the Jedi should all wear these."
I mean, robes are cheap, and if there's 10,000 Jedi, I mean, who's placing that order to, that bulk order to,
the Jedi warehouse,
Yeah, right. Yes.
What they used to say?
You'll love the way you look.
There you go. From sizes to Yaddle to the biggest Jedi. Who is the biggest Jedi? I don't know.
It was that dude from the Clone Wars who was the Dexter Jetster, the diner owner. It was his species with the 6 arms. He was the biggest.
Oh, okay. That's a lot of tailoring.
I would say, Todd, you mentioned Yaddle, and I now have Yaddle as a playable character in Lego Star Wars. I did the mission and got her, so I've been using her a lot. Thinking about you, buddy.
Sure, she's fantastic. With that beautiful hair.
I know she's your favorite.
Yes. Well, moving on to a new favorite, hopefully, is we are getting a new animated anthology series on Disney Plus, and it's based on Tales of the Jedi, which was a Dark Horse comic series. I have no clue, though, if this is based on that comic series or it's just going to be Tales of the Jedi, because ultimately, when I think about Tales of the Jedi, we got a lot of the Star Wars visions already. So the Jedi are getting a lot of pub here, but if it's based on that series and they take some chances with the animation style, like new animation that I would love to see, this could be kind of cool.
I mean, when they say Tales of the Jedi, I guess the question is it an homage to a run in that title? Because that looks like that title ran for about 5 years or so. So are they lifting stories from that? Are they taking it in name only? I guess, this is, and again, this crept up on me. So, nice find right here. But yeah, this has the beauty as I'm kind of skimming through this, if it's set so far before, obviously
4,000 years before.
Yeah.
That was when the series was taken, yeah.
It's total headcanon. You can just be like, it's one of those, it would have to be disproved for you not to believe that it's really happening, because the furthest canonically back there going with any consistency is currently the High Republic, which is 200 years prior. So this is hell and far before, even though there is a canonical basis, because Star Wars, Alex, the Star Wars Explained YouTube guy, does, I think on May the 4th, which means he probably just put out a new one, he does a total chronology history, which is now over an hour in this video, where he walks it through, time period by time period, touching on things here and there. So Yeah. So would this be canon, or would it stay outside of canon because of kind of like Visions did? That's what I'd be wondering about.
I think, like you're saying, it's 4,000 years in the past. You can, like, unless something absolutely catastrophic happens,
right?
It's going to be really easy to be like, yeah, it's canon, but it didn't affect anything 4,000 years in the future.
Right, exactly. So it's totally canon until it's disproved. So that's cool. But yeah, if they're starting to develop this now, animation projects have a really long shelf life. So is this a couple of years out? I mean, I guess.
Yeah, it could be.
Or it might be a couple of years in development at this point, and which is why they're announcing it, is that it's going to be coming
out. Gotcha. Yeah, that's right. So,
I mean, if anything, using that old material gives them an opportunity to take something that potentially could work really well, and take the pressure off of the current staff to say, oh, we based this off this because we found these ideas really cool, which is, I think, what everybody wants. Just admit that were some good ideas and they're worth bringing forward, like Thrawn and different things like that. So, and the fact that it is so far in the past, I think the cool part is you could introduce some things that could come up in the future. And that's what I've always wanted with Star Wars. Bring up some new things that are coming up that are going to happen in the future, not just stuff we talk about now that happened in the past. So I think this could be a new way to bring in some new ideas.
And it's like an entire galaxy too. So I mean, there could be things that they have not found in any of like this, 200-year history since the High Republic to present that happened that maybe had a huge impact. Like, I don't know, maybe a sun exploded somewhere because of what's happened in these tales. And that would not have impacted anything because it was on the other side of the galaxy. So there's a lot of stuff that could go on that, like you're saying, Todd, could be brought in somewhere, which would be really, really cool. I mean, it's animated. I'm always for animation. I'm super excited about that. It's set in the past. It's ever since KOTOR. I'm like, yes, give me more old weird shit. That's what I want. So
KOTOR me, baby. KOTOR.
Yes, exactly. I'm like, you make it old and weird. I'm totally about that. So
KOTOR me, rock and roll me. There you go. I was going to say, if we weren't moving on to talk about Doctor Strange, that would be a hot title for this episode.
Yeah, and lastly, I don't know if you all saw it, but the trailer finally dropped for the Weird Al parody biopic Weird. This thing looks amazing. Daniel Radcliffe is playing Weird Al, and they're going full in. They're going full in on just like taking Weird Al and just making up this like ridiculous story, like he had an affair with Madonna and did all this stuff, which I absolutely love. It's like this. It's kind of like that Funny or Die skit they had a couple of years ago called Weird with Aaron Paul, where Patton Oswalt played Dr. Demento. It was just great. And this seems like they're living it up and they're doing the exact same thing, but making a full-blown movie. I am down. I can't wait to see this thing.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's Daniel Radcliffe. I have yet to see something where he's in it, and I'm not like, yeah, that was fun. Like, he's always gives great performances.
He even did great in that the Lost City, the thing we just saw with Channing Tatum and Sandy Bullock. I thought he's just very plausible in everything. But I mean, Weird Al is a cornerstone of our certainly of Oxford, myself, our youth. I'm seeing him this summer. Todd, you've seen him a number of times. We've seen him together. He's a consummate performer. He's amazing. He's absolutely amazing. And again, anybody who is a child of the 80s has always been steeped in this. So this will be something that is amazing for all of us. Is this theatrical? No, excuse me.
No, it's Roku, Charlie, this fall. And it's
Roku
not
channel.
Yes.
Roku channel.
Roku's huge because everybody owns a Roku box. So they have a channel there. Watch it and absorb ads. Yeah.
Absorb it.
So I'm going to have to try to figure out how to watch it because... I'm one of the, I guess, only people who don't have a Roku.
Oh my God! How do you even?
What do you have then, Katie?
A smart TV.
Oh,
there's a Roku channel and everything. It's just an app. It's like Apple TV isn't just on Apple devices. It's a channel. They want you to watch your show wherever you can go, and it's free. So it's easy.
That's fine. Yeah, that's good then. I was thinking, I'm not paying for another subscription.
Nope, it's totally free. All they want is your time and maybe an ad brought to you by Crisco.
Okay.
There you go.
Crisco, the Crisco kid. That's my favorite.
Yeah. Well, that is it for the news with Madame Webb. Madame Webb, go back home, take a breather, get ready for your work week. And we are going to go now to the Geek Easy for Get Our Drink On and Our Nerd On.
Talk nerdy to me. Talk nerdy to me.
We're sitting in the Geek Easy, drinks are poured, and we are ready to get our nerd on. So this week, I believe we've all seen, we'll start off with the first thing because we've all seen it, and then we'll go with Katie's picks. And that's Moon Knight finale. With that, we are 6 episodes and done. And what do we all think?
I really liked it.
I liked it to the point it had a real Raiders / Mummy vibe to it, the series in general. But Todd, you and John and I were talking about kind of post-Endgame things, and they just seem to be kind of getting further and further away from the connectivity piece, which is not a bad thing, because again, forced continuity and forced franchise building can be hurtful. So this series was completely independent. It left you guessing a lot of the time. And I think that is not something you get in a lot of entertainment that's part of a franchise because it all becomes samey in its own way. It's like, listening to your, favorite artist album after album, there's going to be licks and riffs and progressions that all just kind of feel the same. And this show really didn't do that. I mean, it was a one and done. I don't know how we would see Moon Knight again. And I think the ultimate transformation as he fights his way back from death. And then Layla, his wife / estranged wife, whatever you want to say it, is I hate to see an article that said the Scarlet Scarab, I think is the name of the character that her album came from. Oh, that was a new one on me. But she was magnificent. I dug that, and I dug the ending. Of course, there was a post-credit scene as well. That riffed on Mark's third identity. Was it Frenchie? Who is the captain?
Jake Lockley is his name.
Jake Lockley. Okay, yeah, gotcha. So again, not having a ton of familiarity with Moon Knight outside of his time in the West Coast Avengers, which I always love to talk about the West Coast Avengers. This was a really interesting departure, and I love the story that versus franchise building on these Disney Plus shows, which we got in Book of Boba Fett, which was just a total mess. This was very clean and closed the book, so to speak. But elements of it could always come back. You know what I mean? So I liked that part of it very much, that it wasn't lather, rinse, repeat in Marvel. That I liked.
Yeah, I thought they did a really great job with it overall. It was a very good kind of like whole story told in one, in the 6 episodes. It felt very closed, but as far as then, leaving a lot of things open, because it wasn't like Lockley was a surprise. They were alluding to the fact that he was there, multiple times throughout the show, which I enjoyed, because it was like, oh no, there's obviously a third personality that they haven't met yet. So I think that or at least I'm very hopeful that they're setting something up to bring, Lockley and Moon Knight and hopefully Scarlet Scarab, because I absolutely loved Layla. I thought that was fantastic.
Right,
the only thing that pissed me off, I'm like, why am I only getting her at the last half of the last episode?
Yeah,
but I'm hopeful. Yeah, I'm hopeful that they're building to something that will be going on later on, where they could be bringing them into either other shows or onto the big screen.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah, will there potentially be some kind of, bringing all these shows together in some kind of big project? I mean, I think we all know that the characters from WandaVision might have a somewhat dubious existence afterwards, but the reborn Vision is still out there. But as far as what's going on with Wanda, well, we won't get into that just yet, but still. So Todd, how about you? You brought it, you tipped it off. What are you thinking about it?
Yeah, and I said this was going to be interesting because I was worried that Marvel at the last minute was going to say, oh, wait, we have to connect this to everything. And then it was going to be like a hot mess of cameos in the last episode. I'm like, and they didn't do that. And I think that is great, because if they have to link everything together, then they become ultimately powerless to control their creation. They have to link it in. They have to deal with stuff.
Right.
I think Hawkeye did a good job with that largely. Largely sticking to a story, not having to worry. I mean, they played with some things, but they largely kept it itself. So this is the second one I feel like they kind of not have to worry about what's next. It doesn't have to be a next. It can be Moon Knight could show up in something else. It doesn't have to be his own story. It could be like he is now there. if that happens. So we'll see what happens, because we did kind of got a status quo. We don't know where if the Scarlet Scarab will show up again. And it's funny because she's such the character of Scarlet Scarab is a minute character played by a Muslim in the comics that was like largely, it was a male too. So this is taking some heritage, bringing it up to date, and a very cool introduction of that character. I liked a lot of it. I thought Ethan Hawke was, he's had like a really solid career, and he was playing kind of like a heavy, but he was also, you saw him at the end where he's like, I'm ready to accept dying. So it was like, he wasn't a bad guy. He was just a follower of someone he believed in. And so he was ready to die for it. It was like he was a hypocrite. So I'm like, that was interesting. So we'll see where this goes. I mean, obviously we've got the Jake Lockley thing at the end. So that would be like, is that meaning we're going to get them all coming back? Oscar Isaac has not signed a second year or anything. So if it doesn't happen, I think this is a good show that shows that we can maybe get one-offs, and then shows that don't have to continue on forever, and they just tell a cool story. So I was pleased. I was pleased with it. And 6 episodes to deal with the Steven and Mark, and then get basically some resolution of that was very cool. So good deal.
For sure.
So something that was also written by George R. R. Martin, you've been playing, Katie.
I know. I've been dying a lot. I've been dying a lot. I've been playing Elden Ring. And yeah, so I immediately put, sorry, Charlie, because I know this isn't the video game podcast.
I'm talking about a video game too. I'll talk about the same one I've been talking about.
But as far as it has been taking away from my watching/reading time, so I thought I would throw that in there because I like to. I am a religious fanatic. I throw fireballs at everything. If it moves, I throw a fireball at it.
Astrologer.
That is how I play.
Is that your class? Is your class the astrologer?
The acolyte, I believe, is what it was called.
Okay, because there's like there's astrologer that's strictly a magic class that is like you can hit him with one hit and he dies. So
no, I went faith dex builds. Is
nice.
Yeah, in mind. So like I just got to the point where like I literally couldn't carry anything because I hadn't leveled up my endurance at all. I was really min-maxing at that point. So I finally got my strength up past
wearing a cod piece and a big sword, and that's it because you can't carry anything else.
Again with the cod piece.
Not even a big sword. Because I don't have enough strength to wield a big sword.
Staff, maybe?
Yeah, I say I have a small dagger. But if they've gotten that close, I'm screwed. So it doesn't really matter at that point.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, so that's cool. Yeah, I mean, my son, I think he finally finished it and put hours into it. He played with me. He was basically guiding me to play, so I beat like this mini boss, and then I made the mistake. Katie will laugh. Charlie's just at the side. That first person you meet outside the chamber, I decided to start attacking that person. That did not go well.
The horse, the guy on the horse.
No, it's like the person that greets you outside the cave.
Oh no, you're not supposed to do that.
But I did, and that did not go well because I couldn't kill him, and he kept on chasing me like a Benny Hill episode. It was a bad idea. So I stopped playing, and my son enjoyed it. So
yes, Aaron says he likes to watch folks play on Twitch, and he's like, "There's 2 veins that you watch on Twitch. It's either people who are really good at it and have been like playing these games for a long time." He goes, and then there's the people who don't know what the fuck they're doing. And I'm like, I know which camp I fall into, and it's not the experienced one.
Oh, Charlie, you love this. This game is where people leave notes for you too. They're everywhere. And half the time it's just trolling you, like, jump down the cliff. Because sometimes that's a good thing. Like, I should jump down that cliff because something good might happen, because that's the way the game is. It's very vague. So I stop reading the notes because they're never helpful.
I play offline because I don't have a PlayStation Plus account. I'm not paying $60 a year.
Well, you can cheat them. If you use the offline account, like you can do some really crazy stuff. And there's a pause menu, but you have to go into the deep recesses of it. So there you go.
My. All right, moving right along, Todd. Todd, you had a chunk. We all talked about Moon Knight, but you had some other stuff going on.
Yeah, I mean, we all watched Picard. That wrapped up. Wow. Picard has had 2 seasons, and they need new writers. I don't think they know what they're doing, and it feels very out of sorts. The first season was kind of like they tried to put 10 hours of resolution in the final episode. This season felt like you know what we should bring back? Everything we've ever covered in Restoration and
had
loose ends. Let's just figure it all out. Yeah,
Katie and I have not been kind over on Code 47
No,
because
we have not.
It's basically Homer's makeup gun fired at a wall. If you remember that one, you know, because it's like, well, let's take these real key things about TNG Q plus the Sungs plus the Borg, and plus Guinan.
Wesley.
Yeah, and then Wesley at the end of this one, and Katie kind of burst into flames when she saw that and had to message me.
I did. I
need help. I need some help here because obviously you guys are the experts and I'm not. Sung, was he ever played out as like the bad guy? I was always
not at all. But again, we've seen several generations of the Sung family, all played by Brent Spiner. The first was Noonien Sung, who created Data and lore. He was a good guy.
Yeah.
Okay, he was an old man in TNG time. We jump back to Enterprise. There was Auric Sung, who was a kind of a genetic terrorist.
Auric, he created a vacuum cleaner.
There you go. That was the other thing he did. He thought that would redeem him, but no. He had kidnapped he had stolen a bunch of embryos that were basically the Khans, the super soldiers, and
I was wondering about that. I'm like, wait, they're saying Data's dad made.
And then Noonien Sung had a son who we saw in last season of Picard that created all the androids and shit. Now we jump all the way back to this Adam Sung in present time, who is just not a very nice guy.
Yeah,
he created all these different. He's trying to recreate this different genetic stuff, and then we see in the last scene of this that you set his family on the expectation to reviving the
Khan project.
The Augments program, which is what we see in Enterprise. So overall, he's like 4 out of 5 Sungs are bad. You get one good one. Yeah, it's like you got an uncle who went to prison. You know what I mean? But maybe you're not a bad guy. So I don't know. It's kind of like that.
Yeah, and it was funny because when they said, was it 2 of the one shall live, one shall die? And I'm like, yeah, she's wearing a disguise. I mean, there were so many, like, it was like, man, they just can't, they telegraphed that so far in advance. I'm like,
big time.
Guys,
no, you're right.
Please try. And it was about the Picard. Yeah, Rios got shoved off. And
I mean, I part of me, and again, Katie and I will dig into this more, part of me thought they brought some threads back together in some ways that I found satisfactory, but again, you can't take episode 1 was exciting and a kickoff, and episode 9 was, or episode 10 was, we wrapped some stuff up, and then everything in between was a fucking mess. It was rough. And I said this on our last episode of Code. I said I am a Star Trek apologist, except for when it comes to the JJ movies, which actually Katie and Peter and I are going to do a one and done of the 3 JJ movies sometime later this year. That is
definitely going to involve a lot of this.
Yeah, we're going to. I don't even know if Peter drinks, but I think we'll get him drinking. We'll see what happens. But yeah, we're going to. Yeah, it's. Let me just say I have high expectations for season 3, where they're bringing the original cast back. But I read an article today that said they're bringing them back staggered. So it's going to be like Picard does his thing, but here's an episode with Geordi and Worf, and then the Rikers come back, but Beverly sounds like she'll be there for a lot of it, which is, what, that's going to be maybe he's not going to end up with the Romulan chick, maybe he's going to end up with Bev. He always should have. So I think that would be cool. Hopefully, no Wesley.
Oh, no, Wesley is apparently doing why? There was a resolution there for a character that needed no resolution. He'd already had resolution, and then they just stuck Wesley in there.
He had his wrap-up story in TNG Season 7 where he found out he was one of the Travelers, and he was going to go off and do his thing. But then, they had to bring him back and then reveal that the Travelers are also behind Gary 7 and Laris in this. Gary 7 from the original series, who was Robert Lansing's character in the Assignment Earth, which ended season 2. Is it more fan service? I'm not. I don't even know if I can call it fan service.
I don't know anyone who wanted Wesley to come back. It's not even fan service. That's just kind of beating us at this point.
I liked Wesley. I thought he was okay. I mean, I'm not deep into this, but as someone who watched I thought that was actually cool that they finally referenced the Travelers again, because guess what? We haven't touched on that in 25 years, so why not? That's kind of cool. And the fact is, how do you get them? And this is kind of cool. I thought that was okay.
Oh my goodness!
He said like 2 lines, so it's not like he like showed up and said,
It was
"Hey,
more than 2 lines.
I'm
It
a
was an
host."
entire monologue.
It was absolutely. All right. Go ahead. I was saying for the sake of time, maybe we should.
We can. I will be able to trash on poor Will Wheaton enough during
Yes.
47.
Yes. But lastly, I'm back in exercising again, which has allowed me to catch up on a show that as much as we like the franchises that exist, I don't always think they're the best in their class in regards to the things they do. What I think a show that's best in its class is The Expanse. Mm-hmm. I think Expanse wipes the floor with most science fiction.
Oh, man.
Star Trek is very formulaic. It's very by the numbers. The writing isn't often the best.
We were just talking about that. I can't disagree.
Yep,
exactly. And Discovery's even fallen in a trap where I feel like they needed to reset, because if they don't reset Discovery, I feel like that show has significant problems that they need to fix, or it'll feel like it's the same thing repeat every season. But The Expanse, I'm on season 6, and it's one of those shows I don't want to end, because I only have 3 more episodes left, and I'm like, this show reminds me every time, like, elevated like fantasy is Game of Thrones, elevated fantasy or science fiction is The Expanse, and I want everybody to raise the bar based on the show, the writing, the acting, the concepts. I think everybody's getting outclassed by the show because it was done by a great set of books, great source material, but they've adapted in a way that makes the TV series feel like you could tell the story on its own, which essentially has, because the books go on past this. So, and Amazon thankfully resurrected this show, where I would hate to think that this would be like the next Firefly, where it was given short shrift. But man, this show is fantastic. It makes me feel like this feels like a like Battlestar was at the next level. I feel like this show takes what Battlestar did and built upon it. And it's excellent. It's great science fiction. Everyone should watch it. It's not cut and tape. It's not taking the formula of the franchise, which I really appreciate. So
love me some Bobby. She's amazing.
Bobby's
my favorite. Bobby's by far my
great.
favorite.
She's a kick-ass. I mean, Bobby is kick-ass. Or Peach. Well, and then we got Peaches. I like her. She's kick-ass too. Yeah.
My.
I can't get Charlie into The Expanse. He said it was bored, but I'm like,
I mean, but that was if it was 6 seasons, that was at least 6 years ago. So it's not to say that
maybe give it another shot. I mean, because you did give Lower Decks another shot, and you really enjoyed it.
You should give it a season, though. You got to give it a season. You can't watch 3 episodes, because like watch 3 episodes of Star Trek.
I can't do what you do. Watch 1 episode. Speaking of giving things another try, I'll flip the script. I've been watching 2 things with my wife. We watching Parks and Recreation, which she's never seen before. Again, that show, the first season and a half is rough, and then it clicks, and they start to switch more focus over to Ron Swanson, which is when things get amazing. So April's on board with that. I got her playing, and I feel like I mentioned this in our list. So I got her playing Lego.
You absolutely last the
yes.
you mentioned
and we are just we spent like 4 hours one night. We went to bed at like 11:30, just like just one more. We love that. Yeah, I know, but it's it's fun to do stuff together. But no, I did because of playing all the Star Wars, I gave a rewatch today to the first episode of the Bad Batch, the animated follow up to the Clone Wars, and it was a double episode, so it was like an hour 20. So it's that's like a triple or quadruple episode of 20 minutes, 20, 40, 60, 80. So yeah, that's 4 episodes. I got it. Did I do my math wrong? Don't laugh at me.
No, I was just laughing that you're sitting there doing your math.
Don't judge me. Don't judge me. I am of the opinion that you can watch that, and then you can watch the finale of the seasons, which was 13 or 16 episodes, and skip everything in the middle, because the rest of it was crap. Mm-hmm. I mean, I know Mark and I went through it bi-weekly, obviously, as we were doing Holocron, but I couldn't even tell. I know Ming-Na Wen's character Fennec shows up at one point, and it's largely irrelevant. Cad Bane shows up, whatever. But this introductory episode is a powerhouse. I mean, it really is, because it shows Order 66 from the ground, because this Clone Batch 99 is these 5 genetic aberrations who don't fall victim to Order 66, except for one of them, who turns on the rest of them, and then they end up having to escape with, as always, a Wesley Crusher, a little kid who could always be in danger. And they developed that a little bit through the season, but too much of the season was they end up and it just turns into the Mandalorian. I got to do this thing that's going to get me a little closer to my thing, but then I got to do this thing and come back and do this other thing. It's like the Lego movie. Put the thing on the other thing. So watch this. And then if you jump to the end of the season, you're pretty much set. Because I remember the season finale was pretty tight. They end up back at Camino. There's a big war. Everything gets blown up. Classic Star Wars. But yeah, I was impressed how much I actually was engaged and enjoyed it, where the series just really dragged ass for me. And Todd, I don't know that you watched too much of it, did you?
I watched the Clone Wars episode where they introduced them, like, not interested at all.
Yeah,
I know what they're going to do. They're going to make them individuals with personalities, and somebody's going to turn. And then, of course, they introduce Beta, or whatever they call it. Omega. I'm like, I could care less. More clones, more prequel stuff is irrelevant to me.
That's Todd's burn point. It's
like that GIF you see where the guy's going like this. Like, I want new Star Wars. I don't want Star Wars focusing on the last 30 years.
I need new Star Wars. Think cool.
Yeah, Todd is the geek Karen. I would like to speak to the manager of Star Wars.
Like you said, Charlie, there's so much filler in that. There's so much Star Wars is filler now. It's like it doesn't move the bar forward. It's like an extra 25 minutes of we got a little characterization.
That's one of my favorite shows.
Oh well, break it down.
It's the A-Team. It's the A-Team with clones, and I've seen it before. I'm like, I don't like them, and they all have the same voice, and it's like they're doing more missions. Like, I know what they're doing for nothing.
Oh, Katie's going to cut you up. Go for it.
I
mean, and again, I'll be watching it with interest because that's what Mark and I talk about. So I'm always going to try to find the good. But yeah, Katie, I'm sorry. It's just from episode one.
It's okay. We're allowed to like different stuff.
When I jump to the end, I just feel like, okay, they hook up with Rhea Perlman and they're doing missions for her. Not actually Rhea Perlman, an alien voice.
Okay.
Rhea Perlman. Yeah. I know you'd be excited if they showed up in Cheers. I know. But yeah, so
Cheers, yeah.
Katie, and give me the Reader's Digest version of why you love it so much.
I just really like the character development, and I know that because I was rewatching it, and I remember you saying that it felt like there were a lot of filler episodes, but there were always points where it was moving the story forward, and it might just be because I haven't read a lot of Star Wars books, or I don't pay attention to a lot of the canon, so I didn't I kind of knew the beats they were going to go with, but I still liked watching the characters grow along the way. And I really, really enjoy Omega. I enjoyed her dynamics with the clones, and the clones were my favorite part of Clone Wars too. Those were
it's right there in the name.
I know, right?
It better be. Oh, well, and again, for Todd, paying devil's advocate for Todd, it was his least favorite part because he hates clones. Yeah. Which is fair.
And that's the thing is that I didn't like clones until I watched Clone Wars, the animated, and I was like, oh, these are I really love Rex, my favorite character in Clone Wars by far. So that's where I was coming from.
Todd, you even said that Clone Wars was a chance of redemption for the prequels or particularly for episode 2, because it was written so horribly. They actually got some decent character development.
But look how long look how long it took for them to do that. It took them about 80 episodes of stuff to make the prequels halfway decent. That tells me that it's half baked, and somebody said, okay, we can make a better show, but it has to be in the Clone Wars. Like I said, condense it, make 4 good episodes rather than a little bit of characters, and filler episodes. I mean, I understand it's a kid's show. It is a kid's show. So you get, even He-Man had a little characterization every episode. I just find it tiresome that we're getting so much Star Wars in one era that essentially is over. It's just like, God, move the ball forward.
It's over.
All right. If we're going to be doing anything with Jedi, it needs to be in a different, to be in a different domain.
Yeah.
We need.
There to be new plot lines, new villains, new threats.
New everything. All right. Well, speaking of moving the ball forward, we got to wrap this up and get on to Todd, the main event. It's time to hit up Air Qantas. We're going to the land down under. That's right. We got to go to the Thunderdome, check out those mutants, and hope they don't decide to eat us so that we can, in fact, deliver some entertainment. So let's go.
Welcome to another edition of Thunderdome.
Thank you, Tina. The mutants have been gathered for a topic or a game to be entertained, and this week we are talking about Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. This is Doctor Strange 2, debuted this weekend. There's spoilers ahead, so be prepared, watch the movie, and then come back and listen to us. With that caveat out, Doctor Strange has been out in the theaters this weekend. You'll hear it. It's been out a week. $185 million in the box office domestically. This movie has stingers. One is linked into the MCU. One is just a fun Sam Raimi teaser,
So
which
good.
is very fun if you stayed for it. So yeah,
Right.
so this is essentially, I don't know, Marvel film. What, Charlie?
28. I think it's
28.
28. Yeah. I think it's
28,
27 or 28. Yeah. So we're about ready. We're about ready to get out of our 20s here. We're about to get into your 30s where your back starts to hurt and maybe you're noticing a few extra hairs in the drain, and you're just you're getting up there in age. So so Todd, we don't have any format for this. I guess we're just free riffing. So you please continue.
Yeah, so and that may be a part of discussion is 28 movies in the MCU, how many TV series now, the Netflix era.
Six?
And
plus the Netflix, yeah.
And I enjoyed this movie, but it's got its problems. I feel that the Marvel formula might finally be getting a little bit too formulaic. The movies are kind of set in this fashion, and I don't know if they can really pivot that much versus the TV. With Disney Plus now having TV, they may be the fresher viewpoint. Because I kind of feel like the Feige cookie cutter feels like I've seen this before.
Right.
I've seen this format. I've seen the 3 eras, and while you get a different director, it has a very samey feel. And I
mean, nothing is more evidenced, I think, by what you're saying. Was the fight in the streets of New York City was, and I just watched, because always when I my tradition when I fly on a plane is I watch either Endgame or Infinity War, or I watch both. And I was watching Infinity War as I was flying home week before last, and I think I got as far as the fight at the beginning. And so they're having a fight in the street, and he's using his things to cut cars in half and do this. And I'm like, this is the exact same shit. And but not as exciting because you didn't have Tony Stark and Spider-Man there. You know what I mean? So it was just, I'm coming off of not being crazy about the first Doctor Strange movie. And Todd, you and I talked about this. Oh, it was our lost episode, the one that you gave me to edit, that I was just like, I can't do this. Blah! I yeeted it away. But I mean, we talked about it time and again before. The magic stuff, the fantasy stuff, that's your jam. And for me, obviously, if April and I sit down and say, okay, 28 weeks, or 28 movies, we're going to watch all the Marvel movies. This will obviously be included because, April, even more than myself, is a completist. Even playing the levels in Lego Star Wars, she's like, no, we got to clear this level before we move on. And I'm like, oh, okay. You got to get through a lot of rough stuff. But I'm going to for sure say I enjoyed this movie more than the first one. But Todd, I think you hit the nail on the head. The sameness, the formula, I struggled with it. I did struggle with it. It's not that I didn't think there were parts of it that were fun and exciting and I enjoyed, but I knew what I was looking forward to, which we'll obviously talk about in a minute here. But that was it. That was kind of like it for me. It's like I really wanted to see the surprise that was going to come in the middle when we met the Illuminati. That was the whole movie for me. But the rest of it was kind of like, you know what I mean? For me.
Yeah, and I hate to say this, but I feel like Marvel movies, it's all about the surprise, the cameos. And that's a problem when you have to have something like that makes it feel like that made it worth it. Like,
it's like
Spider-Man showing up in Civil War. If Spider-Man wasn't there, would it still be that big of a deal? And I think it was a good addition, but it's still a good film. And I don't know.
It turns into sweeps weeks, which we had back in the old days with TV. And in November and like May, you would have a big episode with a surprise guest star that'd be like, "Oh, we're doing ratings," and they want to prove that people are watching the show. So it's like, here's a big 2-part event where Captain Kirk shows up on the Love Boat. I don't know, something like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but I think we're at the point now that we're like Sam Raimi. He's a director I enjoy because he has a certain viewpoint. Whether you like his movies or not, I always feel like he does some Sam Raimi things that I think are enjoyable. But the fact is, he was given like, you have to do this, you have to include that, you have to do this, and it's like after that, it's like a director essentially can try to add their own spin on it, but it's like they're still constrained until like you have to deal with all these elements.
Right,
I mean,
like Lord Miller. Lord Miller.
Yeah, that's why you don't get that's why you don't get typically people who are esteemed filmmakers shining up for this, because it's like it's a formula, and you want me to just make it a commercial success. You don't want me to have a artistic viewpoint on it.
Oh,
and
I think it's very much a Sam Raimi movie because
really, I felt it. This felt like several other like Ant-Man. This felt like that. Yeah.
No, he has horror camp. That's kind of like Sam Raimi. True. His stuff is kind of campy, and that was what I had a problem with. Is that I loved the horror aspect they were going into.
For sure.
Like that was some of my favorite stuff. Like when Scarlet Witch is like crawling out of the gong and like pulling herself out of the mirror dimension.
God.
And I don't like horror stuff. And I was like, this is amazing. Right. Yes, please. Like there was some absolute brutality to it. But then there was always, it felt like I was watching Age of Ultron, where every time something bad happened or something serious happened, it was undercut with a joke. Where there was just like
Marvel.
A bit of
that's Marvel.
But I think that's Marvel more than Sam Raimi, because if you ever saw The Gift with Sam Raimi, excellent film, no camp whatsoever. He can do that, Katie. He can do Drag Me to Hell.
Very straight.
He's never done a PG.
When he's done Marvel, it's been kind of campy, like his Spider-Man stuff
Spider-Man.
was campy.
Well, his Spider-Man was Stan Lee, Steve Ditko, 60s campy. That was the aesthetic they were going for in that.
Right.
He had to know that's kind of the aesthetic that they were going to get again. And I think, like, for me, it was a bigger issue with the story itself and with the fact that they didn't seem like they wanted to lean in one way or the other. Like, because they wanted to show this horror, but they also wouldn't dedicate themselves to it. And
it's a PG-13 film. I think that was a constraint.
That's part of the problem. And they also completely stripped America Chavez of her entire character arc. Like,
really?
They made her a MacGuffin.
It was very you're right.
Agency
they had to if they were going to bring her in, though. That was the whole thing. If you were going to bring her in,
if you have to completely
MacGuffin,
if you have to completely change the core of a character in the story to make your story work, you don't have a good story.
I think it was, once again, Marvel said, this is the roadmap we're going. We need to bring her in because we need a character that can do that. I think this is the Marvel machine.
I
agree, and I think that's
what I'm saying.
This is. Yeah, I think this is. You could put anybody behind the director's team. I think Sam Raimi added some of his own elements to it.
Oh yeah, no, I'm not saying that.
I think
that what happened with America Chavez is Sam Raimi. So I'm saying that was the problem in the writing room. They completely slaughtered America Chavez's character.
Yeah, it's like when Sam Raimi had to deal with the Venom, and he's like, "I don't want Venom," but he had to deal with it. It's like,
right.
And I feel that, I think I think this is going to be a problem with Marvel. It's like, how do you keep doing this and it doesn't feel the same anymore? You don't have an end game now, literally, no end game.
The end game ended. Well, and to your point, Todd, artistically speaking, there are elements of what you're saying that I agree with, but this movie is going to snag $250 million domestic in the first 10 days, most likely. How do you argue with that? How do you stop Marvel from still saying, well, it may not be the greatest, but it worked. So let's just
Transformers, Charlie. You go from the Transformers making 1.2 million to 600 million because people said, I'm kind of tired because it's just you got a different hero, but they're doing the same thing.
Right, but it just hasn't happened yet. And even like I said, when you and John and I were chatting last night doing our summer movie kickoff, talking about Marvel stuff, John hit the nail on the head when he said, when we had Endgame, that was just kind of it for me. Things changed. And, since 2019, there have been notable things that we've all enjoyed that Marvel put out, but they're on Disney Plus. I loved Hawkeye. I'm the only person who loved The Falcon and the Winter Soldier because I love Captain America.
Oh, but I loved it.
Oh, well, that puts Todd in the minority.
No, I thought the Captain and Winter Soldier was a Marvel movie. It didn't do anything special in its storytelling. I thought it was just like, it could have been a film. I mean,
but it's like,
it didn't have an artistic viewpoint. Yeah.
Hawkeye was fun. Everybody loved it. Loki was awesome. So it's just Moon Knight. We just talked about it. So, but to the point where, and I find a way to bring Star Trek into anything, and Katie, you can appreciate this, is that Star Trek is at its core when it's telling stories on television. You stick it in the movies and it goes beyond hit or miss. In the classic era, great. JJ movies, when you try to turn it into Star Wars, no, sir. It ain't happening. You know what I mean? So, has Marvel, did COVID turn Marvel into a TV universe? Are the movies just really not going to deliver anymore? Because Eternals didn't deliver for, I know at least Todd and I can't speak for you, Katie, where you stand with the Eternals, but I was like,
it. I thought it was something, I thought it broke the Marvel kind of like mold.
It was the most DC of the Marvel movies, which is funny because that's kind of I think it's because you had a creator like you had Kirby going over to Marvel. Kirby did Eternals. I mean, you had that kind of thing going on. So there was a DC feel to it. That was kind of interesting.
There was a tough one. All right, well, let's try to tilt towards some positivity. So what is something that everybody enjoyed about this film? Katie, you first.
I enjoyed the horror, which is weird because I do not watch
Very
horror.
Weird.
But
Very weird. Yeah.
Absolutely loved the brutality of it. Because, I mean, I came in expecting a little bit of a twist. Like, Todd was saying, there's always some sort of twist. And you go watching the trailers not expecting to get what you see in the trailers.
Right.
So, they were projecting, Scarlet Witch is the big bad, and, they're going to have to fight her. And then the second trailer showed Evil Strange, and I'm like, so maybe Witch is a red herring, or there's a secondary evil witch. Yeah. And it's the evil witch in Evil Strange trying to find a universe where they can be happy, and they're using America Chavez to kind of bust through and kind of do this catch-up thing. I'm like, cool,
and
okay.
I'm a total space case, and even April turned to me as we were driving home. It's like, did you even know Wanda was going to be a villain? And I'm like, I really missed that. I had no idea. I mean, and I was from anything that came before. I mean, although there's precedent because all of WandaVision was about the fact that this chick lost her mind.
Scarlet Witch was a villain for a long time.
Right.
Like she's kind of at this point just become kind of an anti-hero, which cool,
right.
Good on her. And so I liked seeing her lean into that kind of, craziness that comes with it, and just that like brutality of what can happen. But
I agree. I
like the scene with the Illuminati where she was just like dismantling them, just like
I
was like, this is insane, this is amazing, and I thought that was kind of how they were going to like how the movie was going to progress. But then it just like immediately switched gears where you ended up having like Zombie Strange, but in like a funny way.
Very
Evil Dead. Yeah, very Army Darkness, Evil Dead.
Like that was my problem. Is I was always very confused because I'm like, is this supposed to be funny? Is this supposed to be heartwarming? Is this supposed to be scary? I don't know where I'm supposed to be going with this.
And maybe potentially that's the point of it. I really embraced how Wanda turfed out, and in the end she realized that I'm the villain. I'm compromised. I can't undo what I did. I did what I did in Westview. I ruined people's lives. Now in this movie I've killed all these people in Carmitage. I'm the bad guy. But when faced down with the fact that, the thing that I want, when I face myself with it, what I want doesn't want me, so I don't have a reason to live, which is maybe a little esoteric, as someone who's had problems with my, problems with my two sons. I get it. But, I never really had a situation like, I never, flipped my ex-wife over a table, although I might like to, but, it's seeing mom and dad fight, or in this case, seeing mom and mom fight, who are the same person, two versions of yourself. It's very esoteric, but yeah, she discovers that she's the bad guy, that for everything that she's done to get her to this point where I've got to have my kids. It's the only thing that matters. Now it was very Anakin Skywalker in episode 3. I've done everything that I can to save Padme, but then I kill her. Whoops. Right. Yeah.
Well, a woman's thing is the beginning and end is motherhood. So.
Of course, yes. Unless you're a mother, then your life as a woman is not meaningful.
Everybody knows that. Watch a sitcom. There you go.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I saw positives because I like Sam Raimi. I'm a big fan of the Evil Dead films, Army Darkness. Darkman he made an early superhero film that was very much a little tongue in cheek at times, very goofy. When when he's at his when he has his highs, he has his highs. When he has his lows, he has his lows. I admit it. He's a mixed bag at times. And in this one, it was a mixed bag, but I still enjoyed some of the camera scenes he had. His stylistic take is fun at times, and I enjoy that. I also liked America Chavez quite a bit because she didn't linger in a way that I thought was, bringing a new character in, it takes forever to build her up. Like, no, we got a good origin with her. She came from a different world and was brought forward, and she's bounced. And I like that she was just trying to find a place where she belonged because she did not exist in any other multiverse. I don't know a lot about the character from the comics. I don't know if it's true or not, but I thought that what they did here was really, really cool. And that's part of the problem. When you're trying to adapt a character from the comics and bring him in, a lot of people have read 80 issues with a character. It's like, so you haven't developed all that. But I thought what they brought her in with I liked the actress who played her. I thought she had a cool performance. She was an annoying teen, which when you have a teenager, that's an amazing thing because teenagers can be very annoying.
Right. She was a bit of a smart ass, but she wasn't annoying, which I liked.
Yeah, and I loved when they went through the multiverses when she launched them. And all of the different multiverses,
right?
The Paint multiverse. There was an animated one. There was
blocky, where they got all blocky. Yeah.
I just thought that was really cool because that's what I liked about some of those things where you can show these are all the different multiverses that are involved. So I like that. I mean, spoilers, I liked the Illuminati showing up. That was kind of interesting. John Krasinski was the big one because we kind of got spoiled with Xavier, which pisses me off. Why did they even include that in the trailer? That was dumb. It was kind of saving grace, but you had Black Bolt coming back. The Inhumans are the worst thing in the MCU. They
absolutely.
Which is
absolutely.
Awesome.
But again, the beauty of the multiverse is that none of that really matters.
Nope, they're all dead.
Because they're all dead, but they all also exist in other parts of the multiverse. So, there's still a Mr. Fantastic out there. There's still a Black Bolt. There's still a Professor X. There's still a Captain Peggy Carter. So those are all still out there. But, the biggest thrill is that, Peggy Carter is one of April's favorite Marvel characters. So I came home and I jumped on Amazon and ordered her a Captain Peggy Pop, which showed up the next day.
Which is in half?
Yeah. No, let me get a pair of scissors and cut her in half.
I mean, how she took out each one of them was amazing. Black Bolt, no mouth.
Right.
Oh, I mean,
I didn't even give love to Monica Rambeau as Captain Marvel, which of course she was in the 80s in the comics.
Okay,
so great. Yeah,
I was wondering. I'm like, I recognize her. Oh my god! Because I'm like,
I know.
Is that
it took a minute, but yeah. That was Maria Rambeau from Captain Marvel from the 90s.
Rambeau,
Rambeau, but French. B-E-A-U. Bo.
Yeah, so, and this was a shorter Marvel movie, which I appreciate at times.
It doesn't go on for 3 hours. I very much appreciate a shorter movie, especially after Eternal. Sorry. Again, Katie, I know you love it. You enjoyed it. But yeah, that was just like...
Well, you had 12 characters to adapt, Charlie. It takes a little longer than... Yeah, characters.
Fair.
And then I like the teaser at the end, because, the first Stinger...
we got Clea. We got Clea.
Clea, exactly. I'm like, oh, that's Clea. That's very cool. Oh, and we've got a heavy hitter playing Clea, which I thought was cool. Mm-hmm. But it takes us out of that Doctor Strange pining for Christine and bringing us to Clea, who is his true love.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so, I don't even being so much that I'm not really steeped in Doctor Strange lore. Clea is this big love, but is Christine a factor at some point, or was she original to these films? I don't remember.
I don't know. And I'm so dumb and out of this. I thought she was dead, to be honest.
I mean, the thing is, half of the people in the MCU were dead for 5 years, so she could have been.
Oh no, because I was thinking of the Doctor Strange episode.
That she had died.
What if? Where she died.
Oh, gotcha.
For some reason, I really thought she was still dead. I'm like, oh,
she really was. She really was in the 40 versions of the multiverse that the Doctor Strange we got at the end was not. So yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay. Kind of left us with a major cliffhanger because our Doctor Strange had to use Darkhold to wrap things up, and it gave him the third eyeball, which means he's a little bit wonky. Why didn't Wanda end up with a third eyeball? Is that only if you're there
there was a whole it was like a whole hot mess either, because I was like the entire movie he's been like, you can't use the Darkhold, you can't use the Darkhold. So like,
I'm
okay,
using
well,
the
maybe there's
Darkhold.
Oh, I think I'm totally used.
yeah, because he goes and literally him and Christine have a conversation of, well, let's get to the sanctum, because maybe they have a copy of the Book of Ashanti. Doesn't even ask Other Strange, hey, do you happen to have a copy of the other book versus the Darkhold?
Oh,
Just like,
I see the Darkhold, I want it. Yoink.
yeah, let's use it.
Yeah.
It hasn't
Talk
caused
about
problems
I
at all.
mean, whatever, bro. It's good. It's good.
Yeah,
It's good.
talk
It's
about
good. I
something
like it.
that's talked about. Vishanti shows up, boom, done, gone.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah,
not going
right.
to even mention that one again. Yeah, so we'll just embrace the dark and go from there. It's kind of like
Yeah.
Spider-Man.
I mean, I will
Enter the
say,
dark. Yeah.
Elizabeth Olsen ate up every scene
Oh,
she was
yeah.
in.
Crunch,
She
crunch,
did
crunch.
a
She killed it.
phenomenal job. It was absolutely spectacular.
Well, she was, like I said, I likened her to Anakin and Anakin Skywalker in Episode 3 of Star Wars. My favorite super tragic villain, like, oh, I got to do this thing because I'm afraid to lose, or I've lost. In her case, she lost. She was afraid to lose some more, and she did all of these horrible things in the justification of, well, it's going to be okay when I save Padme's life. It's going to be okay when I get my kids back. And then it was not okay. And then you hold up the mirror, and see what a monster you are, and you pay for it. And I love that she, unlike Anakin, made it only took Anakin another 25 years to make the right choice by picking up Palpy and throwing him down that
Right. After
elevator
he
shaft.
nearly killed his kid.
Yeah,
Yeah, I was
exactly.
going to say,
Yeah.
to save his kid, not because he wanted to help anybody else. It's like, oh, okay.
Well, he wanted to help Luke, so you know what? The needs of the one outweigh the needs of the many. Let's bring Spock into this deal. So,
Yeah.
I do like the arc that they took with Wanda. I feel bad, but even in the comics, she was always very iffy if she was on the side of right, because she was always very, and I bring up the West Coast Avengers again, because that's when her big arc happened. Vision was abducted by the U.S. government. He had previously tried to take over the world's computer system, and the government said, well, as long as he doesn't do it in the Avengers again, we won't take him away. And then he came back to active duty. So they took him and stripped him down to the wires, and he lost his personality, much like what happened in WandaVision. He became a blank slate of himself. Well, that just made Wanda go nuts, and it never stopped. Then it turned into the House of M, and she got rid of all the mutants, and it was all kinds of... So she's always been a hot mess of a character that... it's like, your crazy high maintenance girlfriend. That's basically who Wanda is. I hate to say it.
Ooh. I would recommend, though, Katie, if you want to read a good book, the Scarlet Witch book that came out when, Charlie, was it 2016, maybe?
Oh, yeah, no, that one's
Really good.
fantastic.
That we read.
Really
Yeah.
good book.
Yeah. No,
really
I
good
love that
book.
one.
Yeah.
Yeah,
really
she is an onion of a character. She's
She's a
layered.
complex.
Oh,
yeah,
yeah,
a
that's one
complex
reason why
character.
I love her. And
Yeah.
I think Elizabeth Olsen did just such a phenomenal job, because, like I said, any scene she was in, she just dominated.
She nailed
Right.
it.
Yeah, this could have been Doctor Strange. It's the Wanda Maximoff in the Multiverse of Madness, because I think she was a bigger part of this film than he was. I really care. I really care more about her progression in this than I do about him. So she killed it. She's my favorite character in this film.
Yeah, I like Doctor Strange a lot. I do. I really like it. I've always liked magic wielders. I know, Charlie, you don't like magic. You don't like fantasy. It's not your thing. Not your bag.
It's magic. Sing it with me. You guys are killing me with this shit. I'm trying to get a singing thing going in this podcast. Katie did it exactly once, but that was all I got.
No, I didn't. I just rickrolled you.
No, Charlie.
You did. Oh, okay. I get Todd singing every once in a while. Every once in a while. But anyway.
But I will say, once again, Marvel, if you give a character an accent, don't turn them into an American. Once again, Wanda should have an accent. It's so dumb. The fact
Made
that
up,
they removed it.
made up Sokovian accent.
I've lived in this country for 3 years. I don't have an accent anymore.
It's
So,
amazing.
oh, well.
It depends on what kind of deprogramming accent training you got. But then again, Todd, you know what? I've got one word to fix all of your ills. Multiverse.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, we I mean, I don't know what else to say. I mean, this movie was not the greatest or the worst Marvel film, because we've had 28 of them, and there's other movies that have done it better or worse. So we could probably get into our final take on this. We did have one more teaser, which was just a Sam Raimi bringing back our man. Oh, yes.
The hot dog man.
Bruce Campbell brought in Sam Raimi. They're like a part and parcel. He was Pizza Papa, and he essentially was tricked and given a spell to beat himself up. And he let us out of the film like Ferris Bueller. He said, "That's it. It's over."
I
So
thought he was a hot dog man. Why else would he have
pizza balls?
Why else would he have mustard?
No, pizza balls. Remember the pizza balls that she got for free?
So in this multiverse,
not for free.
in this universe where you have pizza balls, they also have mustard.
Yeah,
maybe he also sold hot dogs. I'm digging too deep.
Maybe pizza and mustard go hand in hand in this universe.
Right, I guess that is what I have concluded. So yeah, that was good stuff. Okay, so let's roll with ratings. So I started blabbing first, so I guess I'll go first. I'm going to give this one. I'm going to go with a letter grade in this one. This is like a C+ to me.
Charlie, you're screwing up like our Metacritic ratings. You got to keep it the same with
okay, all right.
One on the.
Okay, so C+ would be in the 70th percentile. So I'll give it a 7.75. There you go. C+.
Okay.
Did I do that math right? Katie,
I always go at a 5 when you go to. If you're like a 3, I think. If you're like
Katie,
you're a 3, more like that. Yeah.
You're an educator. Help me out. Did I do my math okay?
Babe, I got an art degree.
I hear you. Okay, cool. I'm down. I'm
Yeah,
down.
Charlie, because nobody says like a C 77%. Nobody likes to get a 70. Nobody likes to get a 60 and a 6. So I always say like if you want to do it grade wise, you go like 1 to 5 or 1 to 4 is a better scale. Like I'm
gonna give it like a 6.5. There we go. Okay. That's what I'm gonna settle on.
Okay, so is it out of 10?
Yes.
Out of 10.
Okay, I would say like 4 out of 10 multiverses.
Ooh. Wow, 4. Low rating. Wow, tight. Ooh. That's tough.
It's my second least favorite Marvel movie.
So worse than the Incredible Hulk? Worse than
I'm
Dark
counting
World?
MCU canon. Yeah, no.
Incredible Hulk
is
is
MCU. One. That's the
only Hulk is MCU.
Yeah, that's
Dark World.
I guess I should be saying like I don't know if I've even seen the Hulk movie. I think I have.
It's worse.
Ed Norton.
It's worse. Yeah. It's worse.
Yeah,
I'm counting like current MCU since Kevin Feige like launched it. So Iron Man forward.
Well, that is the second film.
Yeah, Hulk is after.
It's called The Incredible. It came out in 2008, the same summer.
Not the Ang Lee. Not the Ang Lee movie, unfortunately. Yeah. So
they'd be that low. Okay. All right. Todd, you're up.
I'll give it a 7 out of 10. I mean, it's not the best, not the worst. I enjoyed parts of it. And
I do have an Easter egg. And I caught this. The Sam Raimi trademark of the Delta Olds 88, Olds Delta 88, was floating in the when they first get in the world where the multiverse was broken and the cars are kind of floating on the street. There was one of those.
Okay. Very nice.
Okay.
Very nice.
That was also Uncle Ben's car in the Sam Raimi Spider-Man films.
Mm-hmm. Well, very good. So don't if you enjoyed this movie, let us know. If you hated this movie, let us know. Either way, it was an interesting ride. Right. There was something to enjoy and something to dislike for everyone. But next we get Ms. Marvel coming to Disney+.
Yes, in June,
and that is going to be a different feel, and I cannot wait.
Yeah, I'm very fired up. So, like I said,
absolutely.
My vibe is: Are we really turning into an era where these Disney Plus productions from Marvel, in particular, and Star Wars unequivocally, because there are no films at all, is Disney Plus becoming the future of these two franchises? I'm leaning towards yes.
I don't know. You got No Way Home that just came out. But
again, that made as much money that was on par with Endgame as far as approaching globally how much money it made. So you're right, but again, as far as critically or
creatively,
creative significance, I feel like Disney Plus is edging it out. So, so I'm fired up. All right. Well, with that, unless anyone has any other thoughts, I think it's time to go bye-bye, friends. As always, thank you for joining us. I have been Charlie Carden. You can find me over on Twitter at the C3, spell it out. Also run the West Michigan chapter of the International Star Trek Fan Club. I also do the Code 47 podcast with my friend Katie Q, but only for a few more weeks because she's going to leave me.
Just
to go.
temporarily.
Just temporarily. She'll come back, but then my partner Peter will return, and we'll be talking about TOS and Enterprise in various regards. But Todd, where do people find you out there in the social averse?
At Teoxtra on the Twitters. You can also game with me at Spartyon1998 on PSN and at Spartyon98 on Switch and Xbox. And, you know, if you like to talk about geeky things in video games, let me know. We might have you on co-op mode, which Katie needs to come on and talk about video games with us.
Ooh, about Elden Ring.
I can talk about Elden Ring.
I guess, and Katie, to bring it on home, where do people find you outside of your home domicile?
You can find me on Twitter at Q_T_Geek. That's QT Geek. And then on Instagram at Quintessential Geek.
Rockin' with Doc. And friends, as always, thank you for joining us. I'm going to tell you that sharing is caring and to keep on trucking.
Keep us lazy.
Be the hero, not the villain.
In a truck.
This podcast is part of the Secret Friends Unite podcasting network. Visit secretfriendsunite.com for more great shows, articles, news, reviews, and more. Secret Friends Unite podcasts are available on Apple, Google, Spotify, and other podcast services around the world. If you'd like to be part of the conversation, you can join us on Facebook or our new Discord server, or follow at Secret Friends U on Twitter. Please subscribe to Secret Friends Unite on YouTube and visit our merch store at tpublic.com. Just search Secret Friends Unite. Thanks for listening.